Hey y'all, I figured since Shang-Chi is out, we needed to discuss its placement amongst my tier ranking of MCU films. And ironically, I have been doing a little bit of rewatching here and there of certain MCU films, namely the Spider-Man movies and then clips from other films that has kind of made me want to reprioritize where I put things, because I did film that ranking video nearly 2 or 3 months ago now. I think it's time for me to kind of like rearrange things. If you've been following my letterbox, which you all should be, you kind of already have the spoilers for this video of where things are gonna go, with the exception of the TV shows, because I don't include those on there. But without further ado, let's get to rearranging this tier list. Now, I have my categories, which I described last time. I am Iron Man.
And I am Iron Man.
As the S tier or top tier, America's ass.
I think you look great, Cap. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
The tier just below it, glorious purpose.
I'm burdened with glorious purpose.
Cut the check.
Boom, cut the check!
Language.
Language.
And nobody would know.
Nobody would know.
And the only thing that really is in the bottom category for me, at the absolute bottom, is Incredible Hulk, just because I've seen it. It means nothing to me. It really does nothing to me. And Shang-Chi didn't change that, which I kind of thought it might, but it really didn't. We'll go bottom up, because the top is where most of the changes are going to happen. Then these next 3 movies, I'm going to move Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to the back end of the language category, just because it's honestly my least favorite of the 3. And I know a lot of people don't like Thor: The Dark World. I know it's super popular to like make fun of the movie. And listen, I get it. I totally do. I just personally like it more than Guardians Volume 2. Then cut the check. And if I look at my list, none of these really changed. Like, this was not altered. I started to move a couple things around after the What If episode last week that featured Doctor Strange and his love interest Christine, and I watched some like edits of them on YouTube. I'll admit it, I did it. They're really cute, and I really like Rachel McAdams in that role. However, I haven't actually fully rewatched the movie, so these are all actually gonna say exactly where they did before, and yeah, that's where it's gonna go. Now's when we get into the TV shows, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, for me, the more and more I think about it, I think less about it. I don't like it as much. I don't remember it as fondly as I do WandaVision, and I know there's a lot of reasons for this. The marketing for this show, I'm still going to stand by that it was not strong. The marketing that they're doing for What If is stronger than I feel that the marketing for 2 of their major characters, literally the next Captain America. I don't think Disney and Marvel marketed this show the way they should have. I think it dips to cut the check. Now, overall, what the series was able to accomplish, and obviously Marvel, for their first seasons of most of their shows, is going to be working out kinks, seeing how the audience responds to things. And so I'm not going to like be cruel and put it at the bottom of this list, but I am going to bump it down just because it doesn't feel right there to me. Like, it just does not feel correct. Next major change that we're going to make here, and I think it's the only one in this category, Guardians is going to go to the back. Listen, Guardians are fun, okay? Like I said before, they're a great pivot point in the MCU of switching from very serious, heavy Marvel Phase 2 on Earth to this fun space musical comedy type area, introducing new characters that we all know and love now. And while I do like this movie, and I'm sure upon rewatch it will go up for me, and I am planning to do a chronological rewatch at some point this year, these have the same general tone, or I think about them with the same general tone in my memory, whereas Guardians, it's just not as much my thing. I love the Guardians. I love the fact that the MCU can be a World War II kind of fictional historical piece like this, and then we have the Guardians, but it's falling back. And I would like to go back on previous statements I've said of like everything just kind of falls by the wayside, because I know there's obviously been a lot of tier rankings as of late because of Shang-Chi, because of the TV shows, of people kind of wanting to rearrange. All of this is supposed to be fun, okay? At the end of the day, I truly love all of these movies. Like, I love all of the pieces of information character arcs and everything that it strings together for the Infinity Saga, for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU is all about my enjoyment, my entertainment of it, and so like my list is gonna look different from yours or anybody else's, and that's okay. And I'm sorry to go on this random rant. So that gets us up to the America's Ass and the I Am Iron Man, and this is where the most rearranging is going to happen, okay? First of all, I am going to push the TV shows. We're gonna get those out of the way. I'm just going to push them back. I still love them. They still go in the America's Ass category to me. To me, they're not some of my favorites in the entirety of the MCU. I think both of these projects are great, and I've had a lot of time to reflect, somewhat rewatch certain segments of them. I love these shows. I love the experience I had watching these shows week to week. I just personally feel like the entities of the rest of the MCU is more of what I'm focused on. I need to stop caring that I'm going to get hatred. Okay, I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm trying to think what's the best way to do this. I'm really holding you guys to the end with this Shang-Chi thing. I really am. Honestly, I don't care. I don't. Okay, Age of Ultron, which no one seems to really like with me, is going to go behind Spider-Man. I do still think I like Far From Home more than Homecoming. Not that I don't love Homecoming, but Far From Home really just brings in, like, it's amazing to me that it has the same tone, feel of a teen movie that Homecoming did, but it brings in all of these other elements of the MCU, and it really funnels and channels those elements, and I really enjoy that. And then Infinity War, I'm gonna bring back here, and just looking at it here, my letterbox, it's different. I will change this by the time this video is up to be according. I both like in the same way. I think I have more nostalgia for Age of Ultron, but I respect Infinity War more in what it was able to accomplish. Lastly, Civil War is being bumped up, and we're gonna put it here, and we'll rearrange this top category. So this is how my America's Ass category looks like before we move some things. And this is where I'm really gonna beg you guys for your patience and your understanding. Like, listen, okay, these two categories, before I was like, this is the S tier, and this is like my favorite, and then after here, there's a significant drop off. There's really not, though. Okay, listen, I've messed this up. I need to start from the top, I Am Iron Man and America's Ass, because there's just a lot of back and forth, and then we can add Shang-Chi, and then we can be done with this video, okay, I promise. Okay, Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man Homecoming are going into the S tier. I need coffee. I need bravery right now. That's cold. That was disgusting. Okay. I'm sorry. I rewatched both of Tom Holland's Spider-Mans. He's one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and he needs to be up there for me, okay? Peter Parker, Spidey needs to be up there. I objectively think that my enjoyment of Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Iron Man 3 are extremely similar. However, I do think Winter Soldier is a better made film. So that is going to go there. Civil War stays where it is pretty much. So does Black Widow. And these two stay. So really my massive move was Thor Ragnarok. And I know for sure that I'm going to get heat for this. The more and more I think about it, I love this movie. I do. I think it's creative. I think it's brilliant. I love Taika Waititi. I love what they did with Thor. He was kind of a gray, bland character prior to this. But for me, it just goes down slightly lower. It doesn't mean my love for it is any less. It just means that in the actual rankings and the way I think of the MCU and my favorites, it's just not up there as much. I do love it, but it's not going to make my top 10. So now that this list looks exactly how it does on my letterboxd, now we take Shang-Chi, the newest hero in the MCU, the flashiest, most fun, brand new thing. I love this movie. If you watch my review, which I highly recommend you go watch after this, I love this movie. I think the soundtrack is phenomenal. I think that the action sequences are some of the most original and most beautiful in the MCU. And I truly think that this is the perfect new switch into the MCU. Things have been very severe and getting more and more severe in multiverse, and we have issues and characters are coming back from the dead, Loki, and we have hexes on things and dealing with a lot of film form. This is taking the formula of an MCU origin story, laying it out there and bringing in a completely new, unique character and specificity to that character to change the origin story to what it needs to be. With all of that being said, and I'm going to bump this up on the fly here because I think it deserves it, Shang-Chi is going to go in the America's Ass category. I know a lot of people are saying that if it's not in your top 10, you suck or blah, 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 whatever. And I think this makes it maybe 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This makes it 10. The one thing I want to clarify is both Black Widow and Shang-Chi have a little bit, if not quite a bit, of newness bias. And I understand that, and I'm aware of that, and I'm very much thinking to myself that they may both end up in the America's Ass category over time. However, I think both films are phenomenal. I think both focus on a character, one being brand new to the MCU, one being an older character, and really give both of them their due diligence, make the story as specified in both plot, form, world setting, all kinds of things to that character, making them really unique solo films, which when there's something like an Infinity War and Endgame, stuff doesn't have to be specific. You have a ton of characters to work with. You have so much comedy and setting and world building and like history that you have to catch up on that it doesn't matter as much like what the actual things are. And both of those movies have one villain, and I'm not saying they're not good. They're great. But I think with these two solo movies of Phase 4 of this year of 2021, what these two solo movies have been able to do is show Marvel's mastery of storytelling. And there's a lot of people who don't like Marvel, and that's perfectly fine. I don't like a lot of art cinema-esque stuff that other people would like, so it's totally fine. But I think people need and will come to respect what Marvel is doing in terms of storytelling capabilities and really pushing boundaries of what storytelling and what the superhero genre is. If you look at this entire America's Ass category, you have two TV shows, one that's a like historical sitcom that I'm learning about in television histories classes. Like, we're talking about that as an example of what the practical effects of the time were and all that kind of stuff. You have a time traveling show. You have a crazy space psychedelic fantasy. You have a very sort of grounded movie about AI. You have a movie about a San Francisco outcast prince who has to go back and fight his father and bring down the regime that he came from and ran from and return to renew it. And then you have like this ultimate space saga thing that people just love. And I'm leaving What If. You can see at the bottom of the screen. I'm trying to cover it with my hand, but that literally does nothing. You know what? What the hell? We'll put it in there. Sure. I think the storytelling that What If is able to do also goes along with the concept of pushing boundaries, telling new stories, and trying new things. It is simultaneously connected and not connected to the MCU because it's not like the sacred timeline, but the elements at play are really cool. Anyways, this, folks, is my tier for the MCU, including Shang-Chi and What If. What do you think of it? Do you love me still? I promise we can have some like intellectual debates about these kind of things in the next time that something comes out. Maybe when What If ends, we can, do a live stream and discuss these changes and, or, I want to hear people's opinions. I don't want this just to be created in a vacuum. There's a lot of rewatching to do. There's a lot of rehashing of this list, but that's the fun part, isn't it? We get to change this up anytime a new movie comes out or you rewatch an old one. Please let me know down below where Shang-Chi falls in your list. For me, it's 10 because of these changes I've made here, but I could see it being about that spot for a long time because I really do just think that film was so good. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble. Have an absolutely amazing day or night whenever you're seeing this, and I will see you in my very next video. Bye, y'all.